How's it going, guys? It's me, the Domotaku, here today to talk about the next episode, the next amazing episode of ReZero. And can I say that, I was sort of worried about this series and taking really long on its arcs and whatnot and where it was going. But all that is nullified because this series is going for like 24 episodes. So now I'm like, you know what? Take as long as you want. You can take this arc to as long as you want because 24 episodes is not 12, so take your time. And this episode really continues, the series continues to surprise me on how they do these episodes because for one, like last 2 episodes ago, I was saying, like, okay, they're gonna resolve it here, or they're not gonna resolve it, but then they're gonna somehow find out the method for Subaru to solve this arc and whatnot, right? This episode sort of fit in that way, but also made it really emotional, basically. And in the beginning, it's sort of like, okay, so Subaru wakes up and he goes on his daily life, so like introducing himself, and then like becoming the worker for the house again. And then, they have some other tidbits and side stuff in this episode where Subaru tries to do magic. He has like shadow magic apparently, but he can't really use it that well. So he's like sort of interested in learning how to use magic, and that's really good because he might need it in the future or future times before he dies. And other things that he learns about this episode, like the Satella, the jealous witch, and how she's like evil and whatnot. But this episode, it really kind of kicked me in the end when everyone started noticing Subaru's weird behavior on being really like energetic and just trying to make everyone laugh and trying to get on everyone's good side. He's like trying too hard, and Satella and everyone in the house notices this, and it's just like, you know what? I'm noticing it too, and I can't believe I didn't notice it in the beginning because usually Subaru is always like that. He's like always hyper energetic and talkative and whatnot, and he's like doing that because that's his natural way. But then this time, it's like he's trying too hard because he already knows the immediate future that happens if he doesn't, save everyone in the household. Someone will die or he will die. And because of all his he's died like 5 times now in this arc, or 4 or 3 times. He's died so many times in this arc, and all he really cares about is trying to save everyone in this house because he genuinely, truly cares about everyone in this house and the household. And that causes him to try too hard and just really like just try his hardest to make everyone laugh and try to be funny and try to get on everyone's good side. But then it was to the point where he was exhausting himself out, and he wasn't really he was holding all the feelings that he had inside him, and it took Satella in the end to sort of tell him like, oh, you can sit on my lap and you can relax now, like you've been through a lot, we can seriously tell. And you don't have to put up your act anymore. You could cry all you want. And he does cry. It was so emotional. Like I was on the verge of crying because Subaru has been through so much shit these past 8 episodes, and not once has he ever gotten a break from it because he continues to die and he continues to struggle to find the correct way to save everyone and live a happy ending. And it's so heartbreaking because last few episodes he died because of the people he cared about, and he knows that the people he cares about died. So it's sort of like, what can he do? He has to, he has to do this thing, and he has to try his hardest and best. But then at the same time, he's holding all the feelings that he's experienced in his past lives, like dying from Ram, or finding out that the Ram will die or something like that, and like all the other things from like the jealous the hashtag and slasher girl. He was scared, he was frightened, and now he's just like so much emotion when he's confessing to Satella, or not Satella, Emilia, all like everything he's been through, because like he's like, oh, I was so scared, I wanted everything to be good, I wanted everything to be right because I care for everyone, I care for this place. It was really touching, and like I didn't really think about it that much after this episode. Like I'm just saying, it's like, oh, Subaru's the main protagonist, he can do this, he's just like, oh, he has infinite amount of tries sort of thing, like yeah, he can do this. But no, he's been through so much shit and he hasn't been able to unhold it or tell anyone about it. But everyone around him notices that he's been sort of suffering or been sort of struggling and having a lot of issues, and like he's like breaking down with himself. And Puck says that because it's like, oh, the mind of his mind and his outer self are sort of colliding and whatnot, and sort of like he's breaking down, and he does break down. And it was so like once again, like tears almost sprang out from Subaru's confession, and eventually he just cries in Amelia's arms and falls asleep there. But because of that, Rem, I think it was Rem who comes in. Yeah, Rem is the blue-haired one. Rem comes in and sees Subaru, and then he's like, because Rem in this episode did not sort of trust him that much, and then also Rem was talking to the master of the household about Subaru, so they have doubts about him. And then, you know, in this episode, Subaru is trying to gain the trust of both of them because they're the two ones that will probably die or kill them. And, you know, in this episode, Rem sees Subaru how he cried and stuff, and he's like, Amelia tells us, like, oh, Subaru is a good person. And I think after this episode, like, yeah, like, this is the correct path to saving both of them. And it's really good that, you know, he didn't do anything differently, but he did this, that there was so much emotional, whatchamacallit, like, there's so much emotion and like development in this episode with Subaru that it also progresses the plot. So now Rem saw that he was crying and he just fell asleep on Amelia and is like, you know, oh, Subaru is a good person. And then now in the end of the episode, he's gonna go shopping with both Rem and Ram on to the village, and he thinks that it's the village that's causing this curse. I'm pretty sure it's not. It's most likely Rem or the master of the household. That's the case. But now he's going to the village with both of them. So I think that this is the path, the timeline, the thing that's going to cause this, that result the ending to be a happy ending where everyone's okay and he gets away with it. So, you know, I gotta give props to how emotional this episode was, like all the emotional development with Subaru and his character, and yet I have a good feeling that after like the next few episodes, we're gonna resolve this arc, and both Rem and Ram will be alive, and he will get the good ending. That's why I genuinely think after this episode. So thank you guys for watching this video. I know I'm like on the verge of, my eyes are watery right now, to be honest, and I need to go wipe my nose. So anyways guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like the video if you enjoyed. Like the video if you like Subaru's speech and how he's been going through. Like, this anime is really good. I really love Subaru's character. And subscribe, because next week we will see what happens when Subaru goes to the village with Rem and Ram, and see how this arc will happen, and see Subaru achieve this good ending. Hopefully he will achieve this good ending. And, you know, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Like, were you guys on the verge of tears like me, like with Subaru's confession? Or tell me on my Twitter at @thedomotaku. Like, this was really emotional, guys. I love this series and episode, and I'm thankful that there's 24 episodes. So now I don't really care if they take their time to develop this arc, because it's perfect. So anyways guys, I'll see you guys on the next video on Domotaku Anime channel. So take care guys, and mata ne.